Okay, so welcome to the second classical thinker that we are going to discuss. And this thinker is one about whom we've already said that he was deeply inspired by the work of Auguste Comte. And this thinker, of course, is the great uh, Mr. Durkheim. Emile Durkheim. And this is his very favorite quote. He says, I'm the son of a rabbi. Now, please do keep in mind that this person is a Jew who lives in France. So he is influenced by his religion, and religion always has a very strong influence on Emile Durkheim. And he is also an educationist. So whether in that role of the role of an educationist or as a religious person, he is always interested in the functions of things. As a teacher, he is deeply interested in the functions that education performs for society. He also is interested in the functions that religion performs for society in terms of creating cohesion between people, bringing people together. Please do keep in mind that before Durkheim, sociology is not a subject that is taught in universities. It is only after his death that this subject becomes established in universities. And again, as I said, that he is interested in the force that a religion creates in bringing people together and cohesion. There's another very important factor that he studies, a sociological factor that he studies. And if you look at these pictures, this is Kate Spade, and then this is Marilyn Monroe, and this is Guru Dutt, the very handsome Indian actor. And then this is Sushant Singh, a very recent case. What do all these people have in common? Well, they all committed suicide. Okay, and they all became victims to what Durkheim considered a very significant sociological problem of the postmodern, of the modern era. Okay, he doesn't look at suicide from the point of view of the psychologist. He's not looking at suicide as something that is caused by depression or something related to that. Um, it appears to be a very personal act, and it is. Suicide is a very personal act, an act that a person commits in complete isolation. If he doesn't, then he will not be able to kill himself, but he sees it as a social problem. He says that in the past, people came together and they created solidarity with one another, closeness with one another, because they were very much alike. Look at this farm. The faces don't matter, it's the hands that matter here. Everyone is a hand, and therefore everyone is alike. You replace one person, you can easily replace one person with another. So people are creating solidarity on the basis of the work that they are doing in a particular area. They are creating solidarity on the basis of tribe, area, village, countryside, city. This is the basis of solidarity. This solidarity was some kind of social cement. Okay, it glued people together, like cogs are in a machine. It's a very mechanical kind of solidarity. In modern societies, he says that this glue, this cement, is breaking away. It's crumbling. Okay, people now are not very similar. People living in the same area live in the same area they live, but they um, do different jobs. They identify themselves with different professions. So professionally, they're very heterogeneous. So this creates a solidarity among people of the same profession, not necessarily people living in the same area. Okay, so just look at this. This is an office, and in this office there are different people, but they are not coming together because they are in the same office, but they will establish closeness on the basis of their profession, the work that they do. What happens if people of a certain profession disappear together? That will create a major crisis. In this picture, you can see doctors on a strike. So when doctors disappear and they all go on a strike, what happens? the general public suffers. So anything which is present in society, Durkheim calls it a social fact. Okay. It originates in culture or in the institutions of society, and it definitely has a major impact on the people. Suicide, for example, is a social fact. Population is a social fact. Birth rate is a social fact. Death rate is a social fact. Now, you cannot study a social fact on an individual level. That is another very important conclusion reached by Durkheim. You cannot consider, for example, wife battering, which is a social fact. You cannot start studying it from the individual level. It is not necessary that every woman is undergoing this kind of torture. So if you ask a woman, have you suffered from this? And she says no, your research is doomed from the very beginning. What you have to do is that you have to look at the big picture and then zoom in and then see what the individuals are experiencing. So the whole is more than the sum of its parts. That is the main conclusion here. Okay, so these facts only emerge at the collective level, and then they lead to a social consciousness, which then leads to social cohesion and people coming together. And there's a very major veering away from the psychologist's position. You cannot add up all the brains, all the individual brains, and then you say that this reflects the thinking of society. That may be true for a psychologist, but it's definitely not true for Durkheim, and it's definitely not true for a sociologist. So there are two features of social facts. Firstly, social facts are always external. They are not internal to a person. They are not internal to the individual. They are external. Social facts are also coercive in nature. Yeah, they are coercive. If you are not willing to conform to social facts, you'll be forced to conform. Society will ensure that you conform to social facts. Okay, so Durkheim's most fascinating book is Elementary Forms of Religious Life. Okay, in which he says that, look, don't mock anybody's belief. Always take people's beliefs seriously because they are honest in expressing them. Um, he does talk about sacred things. Sacred things are extraordinary things, and he says that in every religion there are some extraordinary experiences in religion that are both frightening and comforting. Anything which is religious will be frightening and comforting at the same time. Okay, and religion produces power, especially in the form of religious meetings, some collective euphoria, and that is where religion performs a function. So this is definitely, Durkheim is definitely a functionalist. He says that, look, in case of death, religion helps you to cope with death. Okay, it helps you to cope with the tragedy, and thereby it brings about repair. People who are hurt by death, people who are hurt by problems, religion heals them, and that's how religion becomes an antidote, a force against enemy, and that is how it discourages suicide. Okay, but please do remember that Durkheim also faced the problem of secularism. I'm calling it the problem of secularism if you don't consider it so. Uh, um, uh, but that was a problem of secularism because he was putting religion in the center of a lot of things. It was the antidote to enemy. So, but secularism was the ubiquitous reality of the modern era. So he believed that, look, from time to time new institutions will emerge that will create that euphoria, that will create that cohesiveness. It's not necessarily traditional religion that will do so. Okay, so the semi-religious organizations will also, semi-religious events will also create unity and cohesion like religion does. This is the picture of, if you look at this, this is the Holy Land. This is Jerusalem, and there's the big dome of the Temple Mount right behind this woman. But religion is as much a force of cohesion for the Jewish people as the state of Israel is. So nationalism is also creating a force for cohesion. And look at this. And this experience is both frightening and inspiring, just like religion was. But this is, of course, Durkheim's opinion. He's saying that these events also create feelings that was similar to traditional religions. Okay, so please do read this up, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Okay, thank you very much indeed.